Hi, I'm Radio's Garett Michaels, and once again, welcome to another exciting edition of Beer for Breakfast ABV with 91X. With me, as always, my good pal Danielle from Mornings on 91X, Paul Segura from the Karl Strauss Brewing Company, our beer Sherpa and overall good guy, and the dudes from Viewpoint Brewing Company in Del Mar who have a beautiful space and apparently some killer beers. We have the founder, Charles, and head brewer, Mo. And we're going to get into some of your beers and talk about your place. So, Charles, why don't you start us out and tell us a little bit about the philosophy of Viewpoint?
So, Viewpoint Brewing, part of it, something I actually didn't talk about so much was when we started Viewpoint, it was actually Vigilante Brewing Company. And Vigilante was about embodying the fact that we're defending the grains and the hops and the food from all the impurities that you can get elsewhere. We had some trademark infringement, so we had to change our name. And when we were looking for something else that really embodied the fact that we have this different perspective, it seemed appropriate to go with Viewpoint.
Well, plus the view's really killer at your pub, right?
Absolutely, yeah. No, that was just lucky, but it was a great spot, and we got lucky enough to get it.
So you're telling me you were going to call it Viewpoint regardless of the view?
Absolutely.
That's good.
So for us, it was actually my sister-in-law, Megan, she was the one that came up with the name because I was so married to Vigilante that it was really hard for me to see past that. And when she actually came up with Viewpoint, it was because we were talking about perspective and changing the ways that you look at things. And she was walking down the street with my folks and saw a sign for a Viewpoint, and it was actually the bridge down the street from us. So that's how that name translated.
Right on.
Awesome. And you guys have been open now for just over, what, 3 months?
Just over 3 months, yeah.
Rad.
So specifically where, if you don't know where you're at, where are you guys located? If people are looking to find you, want to come and enjoy some beers and food at Viewpoint, where are they going to?
Oh, this is easy now. Del Mar just put in a roundabout, so
Yeah.
it really helps find it. So you get off on Via del Valle,
Yep.
make a left on Jimmy Durante, and you get to the roundabout, make sure that you're heading along the lagoon, and we're in there right between Del Mar Blueprint and Del Mar Auto. And you probably will miss us, but when you come drive back around, you'll pull into the parking lot, ask somebody, and they'll point to the big sign.
That's it. Right on. And so you're talking a little bit about philosophy and all. I mean, I thought it was interesting before we got rolling a little bit. As you said, your goal is to perhaps make sure the beers and the food, you have a general philosophy where they sort of all go together in a way.
Yeah, so myself, Mo, obviously our executive chef, Gunnar Planter, we all come from a fine dining background.
Right.
And so for us, food and the integrity of the food is very, very important. And Mo and I actually started brewing together 5 years ago as home brewers. And we applied that same philosophy into the beers that we made. It was all about the cohesiveness around it. So keeping things balanced, not over hopping it so that you can't taste the malt background. Or if you're gonna do that, you use the ingredients appropriately. If you want the hops to shine, you use a yeast that's more like 090, where it's California ale yeast, where it doesn't impart a lot of flavor, but it lets all the other ones speak for themselves.
Cool. Right on. Should we get into some beers?
Yeah, and
Absolutely.
Kind of off what he said, let the ingredients shine through. We do a couple of smash beers. I'm sure you're familiar with smash beers, but single malt, single hop. So the first beer we have here, it's a Mosaic Smash, all crisp Maris Otter, San Diego super yeast, and just Mosaic all the way through the boil, and good 22 pounds on the dry hop.
Right on. Well, let's get into it.
It
Cheers.
smells fruity.
Yeah,
It does, man.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Looking forward to trying this. I can just smell this beer. Right?
Yeah, you get the, blueberry, right, Danielle?
Yeah, so much blueberry.
All the tropical fruits in there, including citrus.
I get a little papaya. I don't know if you get any papaya off of it.
Yeah. Oh, man, that's good. And it is balanced.
It is very
Right?
nice. Yeah.
It's like a face-meltingly bitter beer, but it's super hoppy without being bitter.
Yeah.
And it's got a really nice malt side. Really well done.
Nice light,
job.
5.7, so
Very crushable.
something you can enjoy in
Few
the
of those.
summertime. Yeah.
Yeah.
We like to think that a good beer is marked by how many more you want after that first one. Because if you want another of the same thing, then you probably did something right.
Yeah.
So you guys do a lot with the culinary connection, pairing food and beer. What do you guys normally pair with this?
With Mosaic and something that's light like this, I would tend to move towards like things that are lighter dishes. So this works really well with salads and also with fish courses. I
We
would
have
do
fried shrimp.
Yeah, our fried shrimp is a really
nice.
good one.
Yeah.
We do a shishito relish with that,
very
and
cool.
a little spicy mayo.
Wow, excellent.
Otherwise, yeah, fish tacos is always an easy sell.
Yeah, I love hoppy beers like this with fish.
Yeah, and especially with the spice too, because it kind of
Yeah.
helps to, cut a little bit.
Yeah. Well, that's one thing that we as craft brewers can do that like Bud Coors Miller can't do so well, is that whole food and beer pairing connection, teaching people, what beers to have with certain foods and stuff like that. So kudos to you guys for kicking that off like that.
Cheers.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, this is nice. Very nice. I'm intrigued.
I already need my nuts.
Shishito relish. You had me at Shishito's, so that sounds amazing.
What's shishito?
Oh, really?
I feel like I get this from you all the time.
Mansplaining.
What's shishito?
So a shishito is a type of pepper. They are on the flavorful side, but only about 1 in 8 to 10 are actually spicy. So,
It's like roulette.
Oh,
Yeah.
so you never know.
It's like a box of chocolates.
But even the spicier ones will not blow your head off. It's not like trying to take a bite out of a habanero. And
So
you're
if you
just
got
crying.
gringa mouth, you'll still be okay.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
I think
'cause
this
that's
is the
me.
pepper for you.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, all
Next
right.
to bell pepper maybe.
Wait.
Depends on the day.
You're from New Mexico. You can
I am.
handle Shishitos.
Can I?
They're not overly spicy, but they're really flavorful.
Okay.
You would love them.
You have me intrigued.
They're tasty.
It's good balance with the shrimp too. So you get the crunchy friedness, so just slight.
And it's beer batter too,
Oh, that's not gonna
with our
stand.
beers.
Dig that. All right, so let's get another one here. What are we doing next?
Next up is Citra. Mo, do you want to talk about this one?
Yeah, I'll talk about it. This was one of Charles's original recipes, actually, so thanks for letting me talk about it. This was kind of the founder of Vigilante. When we first started homebrewing, this was the first recipe I made with Charles. We made it about 4 times back to back just to see if we could actually repeat something. And we had some trouble getting Citra hops when we first opened, so we did a Mandarina Pale Ale instead.
Ooh, Mandarina's another good hop.
It's one of our best sellers throughout the summertime, so we figured we got to keep that, and then we'll go with the Citra. And we actually upped the dry hopping to make it a little bit more like an extra pale ale. It's 6.2%. You got some flaked white wheat in there, a little bit of malted white wheat, 2-row Pilsner malt. So it was kind of off of a Kolsch recipe.
There's a little color in there though too. Are you using like a C40 or anything? Caramel 40?
Caramel 45.
Nice.
Yep.
Does that just give the color, or does that change the taste?
It adds a
also?
little bit of a caramelly, toffee-like sweetness as well. Cheers.
All right,
Cheers.
let's get into it.
Yeah, the nose on this one is big. I get a little grapefruit off of it.
Total grapefruit, yeah.
I don't know if you guys are familiar with lychee fruit.
Yes.
Yeah, so I get a little bit of that
Yeah.
on there too. It's a little bit of a subtleness.
This one we actually just released
Yeah.
on Thursday. So
Nice.
we were
Very
trying
nice.
to hold off for beer week, but we couldn't do it. We had to let it go a little early.
That's nice. Well balanced. You guys really are about the balance.
All
man.
about drinkability with all the beers that we create.
Well, do you find that that's something that because you are in Del Mar that is to your stronger suit, because you are the only brewery in Del Mar, and so you have a lot of people who probably don't drink a lot of craft beer. So was that kind of behind also having a balance, is introducing craft beer to a crowd that may not be seeking it out?
Absolutely. I would say one of our biggest kind of statements from people coming in ordering beer is, oh yeah, I love beer, I just don't like hops. And for me, that's, I love it. It's a great opportunity to explain to them what hops actually are and how they actually interact with beer. If you stick hops in a boil at the beginning, you're gonna end up with a bitter beer. But you can stick piles of hops in the ends and you'll just get those aromatics and all those flavors and all the things that people are looking for without that bitter bite that's gonna get you in the back of the throat. So that's kind of what we focus on, especially with our demographic being in Del Mar. Either they're a bunch of wine drinkers, or they like their lagers. So this is our way of kind of introducing beers to them that will allow them to kind of bridge that gap, to actually get accommodated to hops. Because the more you taste the hops, the more I feel like you start pushing the boundaries of what you accept for bitterness.
Everything is acquired. I mean, if you think about it, you sort of get a gateway and you taste things and you experience different things. It could be that way with certain foods, with beer, with wine, with bourbon. I mean, so I think you're right. You've got to have a way to kind of introduce people. And I do think that I meet people all the time, they find out I like craft beer and they go, oh, I don't like that hoppy stuff. And I'm like, well, what do you think is hoppy? And for them, I think hoppy means bitter, but
Right.
they just haven't acquired a palate for it yet. And I think once you sort of acquire the palate, it becomes kind of addicting. It certainly was that way for me.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and I would say the vocabulary coming behind it also, and you hear these terms being thrown out, bitter, hoppy, juicy, these types of things that I think that there's not the definition behind. People aren't getting what the actual definition is behind those things, and we all have different palates also.
Right.
So what I find bitter or hoppy, you may not find bitter or hoppy at all. So when you throw those terms around a little bit, it scares people
Yeah.
because they think that it's got this big, harsh bitterness behind it.
Would you say that's your viewpoint on beer?
Is it upside? Is it right side up or upside down?
nice segue, by the way.
And but that's exactly that perspective that I'm talking about. Was we all have different likes and needs for food, for beer, for everything, every part of your life. That it's about trying to find that balance between all of it.
So you've got to start somewhere when it comes to hops or bitterness or whatever. But this is a good beer to kind of start with because the grapefruit thing is kind of approachable. It gets your foot in the door, especially
for wine drinkers.
Right? Yeah, especially with this beer is going to taste or going to smell a little bit like grapefruit, but then this sweetness is going to come forward, and you're going to get these like the symphony of flavors that all hit you all at once, and it's going to pair really well with this. You've got them. I mean, that's the hook, right? And then they try it, and like, okay, yeah, this is really good, man. I can drink a lot of this.
It's awesome that you say that because this past weekend we actually sold out of our blonde ale, and having it being Breeders' Cup, as Charles was saying, they wanted the lighter beers. That's one of the big reasons we tapped it. We just gave them a little splash of it, and then we just sold this all day
Yeah.
instead of blondes, and it's very approachable and easy to drink.
I think the pairing thing and suggesting things is really great. I mean, one of the things, little plug for Carl Strauss, but one of the things I've always loved about Carl Strauss is if you go to a Carl Strauss, you are going to order whatever you order, but then when they find out what food you're ordering, let me bring you a taster or something. I think it'll go really great with that. I think, people need to be introduced and have their minds opened or create a viewpoint of something perhaps,
Thank you for that plug. So we try to do the same thing with the beer and food, the culinary connection. We find that that's going to help everybody in the long run. If you're going to order a nice plate of food, why just order a beer or like a light beer or whatever? Order something that's going to pair well with it. That's going to complement, contrast, or cleanse. We call them the 3 C's.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Come on.
Oh, no.
Catch up, man. We're behind. Come on.
So the next one we have, it's another smash beer. This is our French Saison.
All right.
So
What makes it French?
The yeast.
Oh.
So it's a French Saison yeast. There's a Belgian Saison and there's a French Saison yeast. So we chose the French. It's a little spicier,
Bien sûr.
earthier. Yeah.
Allons-y.
Well,
Cheers.
I'm a Saison fan, so I'm excited to try this.
I hope you like it. Charles was not the biggest Belgian Saison fan when I met him, but I think I'm starting to change his mind a little bit every day. So
Your palate changes every 7 years, so I'm starting to work
been
towards
5,
it.
so
Yeah.
a couple more.
Couple more years. But the thing I like the most about the French Saison yeast opposed to the Belgian styles is it's more of the kind of the clove and the anise and less of the kind of banana. So I did find a use for banana in beer though. I actually do like a blend where I take like a very strong Belgian banana beer and I top it off on the top with like a cherry crick or like a lambic or something tart.
Nice.
And I call it banana split because it's kind of got that element.
Yeah.
But and it looks cool. It's all red on top.
Yeah, you're right about the esters. It is a little bit clovey, citrusy, as opposed to like a peppery, phenolic Band-Aidy or banana thing.
Yeah.
This is really nice.
And it's all with Falconer 7Cs, so that's probably where some of the fruitiness is coming from, off of those hops.
Yeah.
I want this right now in a tulip glass, and I'm going to hang out and look at the view. This is awesome.
And eat something amazing.
Yeah.
Come by tonight?
We'll see if I can pull it off. Little busy this week, but
What?
you're not far away. So just up the
So
road.
you guys just came off of San Diego Beer Week. San Diego Beer Week was last week. What did you guys do to celebrate?
We launched our mug club.
Oh yes, we have
All
someone
right.
here who was super stoked to get his mug.
Josh.
Actually,
Yeah.
Yeah.
yes, Josh was very excited about the mug club.
So our mug club is actually really unique too, because we actually had hand thrown on the wheel ceramic steins. And the steins themselves were actually made from our previous tenant, who is John Laver of Eucalyptus Stoneware. So he went up to the wheel to help them out and actually spun them on a wheel by hand, each one, 168 mugs. And it's kind of a little throwback to what Viewpoint used to be. And also a lot of the elements of what he actually brought to our brewery. He helped me throughout my whole construction, getting the fixtures in for our hanging planters. All of our light fixtures above our bar were old trash can dollies that he used to use, and so those sort of elements really kind of help, I think, help us to kind of remind ourselves like where we come from and what it is we're doing.
That's really cool. And so each one is totally unique, individual, like no two are the same.
No.
That's really cool.
I was sitting with Malcolm, Charles's dad, last night having a beer, and my mug was skinnier than his. So you could actually see the difference in it. So they are all handmade, and they all have their own uniqueness to them, which is...
Brewmaster ought to have the fattest mug there.
Yeah. Why did he get that one?
So wait, there's only 168 of them?
Yeah, 168 lockers.
So are they all spoken for?
Not yet, no.
So if you want one,
Jump on it.
Yeah,
Right.
come on by. Come grab one.
what does one have to do to become a member of the Mug Club?
So the Mug Club, it's $100 to get your mug and you initiate it into your locker. You get a growler fill. The mug itself is actually a 20 ounce, some plus volume. And you basically pay normal prices for your beer. You get more beer for each fill, as well as invitations to all of our special events, which is our beer dinners. And then once a year, we do our Mug Club Appreciation Dinner. And it's just kind of a way to be a part of that community and to have a little piece of Viewpoint.
I think that's cool. That's awesome. That's talk about like welcoming people into your sort of neighborhood establishment too. I would think that everybody around it would want to be a part of that.
Yeah,
Sometimes you just want to go where people know your name.
and one of the cool parts about the mugs is they're actually getting them branded on there with your name, right?
Yeah, so we're actually getting, every mug is going to get also customized additionally one more time, where we actually we produce members only Mug Club sticker on it that actually gets kilned with it on, so it bakes onto the glass. So you have it with your name on the actual mug, as well as an engraved plate on your locker.
That's really cool. That's like really, really cool.
Just opening our arms to the rest of the family that wants to come in.
Would be a great Christmas gift, honey.
Yes.
That's wink, wink.
You know she doesn't watch this.
Maybe I'll entice her to watch this time. She watched it when somebody else hosted it. Not me.
Well, I dig that beer. It leaves me wanting more.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's how
the
we
sign
call
of a good beer.
right?
Yeah.
That's it.
It was nice and dry too.
Man, I can drink a lot of that.
I think that's a San Diego thing. We love our dry beers. Yeah. I like a good East Coast style where it's a little bit more maltier, but
So we've got a dark
get away
beer
from
coming
this.
on here. What do we got here? Porter, stout?
It's a chocolate stout.
Nice.
A little bit of oatmeal in there, not too much, but has a nice full body mouthfeel.
Oh, you're good? Okay.
I thought I'd get out
losing
fresh
track
glasses
here.
for this. I thought I'd get out fresh glasses for this one.
It's a good thing we have extra glasses.
Right?
Huh? I know.
Nice
Somebody
creamy
was
head.
prepared.
Right? Thank goodness it was you.
Roasted barley.
Looks like you could float a bottle cap on that head.
do we have any bottle caps?
Ooh, smells like chocolate.
Don't.
It does.
Damn it.
All right. Shall we jam? Shall we get into this?
Yeah.
Let's do this.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Oatmeal stout, ABV?
7%.
7.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
So it's a little lighter. Charles just brewed the new batch and we upped it a little bit, so the new one coming out.
I think it's 8.2. if we
8.2,
get
yeah.
all of our gravities.
Ooh.
So it'll go
Nice.
up a little bit.
Really nice. It's really hard to get that dark, opaque color without making it overly like roasty and astringent, but you guys did.
Thank you.
Since you guys are so into pairings, every time I think of a stout, I just think of a dessert pairing. That's just me personally. What would you pair it with that wouldn't necessarily be a dessert?
For me, this is dessert. So, but
It's me.
yeah. Yeah, I would say something a little bit more rich, and we have oxtail sliders on our menu. And what happens is we actually cook it down with demi, and it reduces, and as it gets thicker, it actually increases the gelatin in it, which coats your mouth a lot more, and has that just beautiful like velvety texture. So it kind of complements the stout, as well as the caramelization on the actual demi is very similar to what you would find in a stout.
Braised short ribs too, right? Don't you think that would be good?
Yeah, I was going to say pepper steak.
Oh yeah, that'd be a rad choice.
But desserts, I kind of think desserts as well. You
can't go wrong.
That's where I
with
go
dessert
every
with
time.
this.
I'm just like, a chocolate cake, maybe a
Bread
tiramisu,
pudding.
bread pudding.
a chocolate bread pudding.
Oh, if
We've
only
done
we had
that.
one of those.
Chocolate flourless dessert. Hell, you could just put a scoop of ice cream on there.
Oh,
and
yeah.
like a parfait.
Beer floats are the best.
Beer float, yeah.
Yeah, there are people out there that see that on a menu and they're frightened by it, and I always say, if you have not tried it,
The beer floats?
yeah,
Yeah.
you're missing out because it's a rad dessert.
Oh, I was one of those people. And then San Diego Beer Week last year, I tried a beer float for the first time, and I was like, oh my gosh.
Change your life, huh?
It's totally life-changing.
Yeah, the light went on, man. Absolutely. And I was the same way many years ago. Same deal. I'm like, are you out of your mind? And I had something, and I'm like, this is great.
Well, it's just you think alcohol and dairy, and you're like, I don't want to put those two things together. That doesn't sound like a good idea, but it's so good.
One of my favorite things ever is biramisu, made with like a dark beer like this. You soak the ladyfingers instead of marsala, and then add the mascarpone cheese on. Oh man, it's the best.
Sounds amazing. I've never seen that.
I've made it before. It's really good.
You need to hook that up, man. You need to hook that up. Wow.
We'll have to put you in touch with our
I was
pastry
going to
chef.
say, yeah, come by the restaurant.
There's recipes online, but I'd be happy to come in and sample
out,
some
drink.
and hang out. Yeah.
So this is it, right? Is this all the beer we have?
So this is it for now. yeah.
Except that we have more to drink.
We have a lot more to
growlers here. Right on. Okay. So once again, anything else people should know about Viewpoint? I mean, we know about the Mug Club. We know about the amazing view. We've heard about the philosophy of your pairing beer with food, that sort of thing. We know where it's located. Anything else they need to know?
Well, we do have something special coming out in December.
Okay. What is that?
So we brewed a beer with a brewery out in Belgium called Beer and Character. And what it is it's a double Abbey Stout. So we have 15 barrels of it in casks, in whiskey casks from Breckenridge Distilling. And we are going to pop one of them at Christmas time.
That sounds horrible.
I know, it's not awful. So we'll take that
Wait,
and throw it
a
on
double
the intro.
Abbey Stout? Are you kidding me?
I don't even know what that would taste like. I'm so curious. Like,
Aged in whiskey barrels. Phenomenal.
Hopefully on nitro.
make it nice and creamy.
Yeah, a little creamy. Then with your ice cream, it could be perfect.
See, you
Yeah.
and me, Mo, we get each other.
Like
We
what?
get each other.
Like when you say Christmas, are you saying like before Christmas, week after Christmas, Christmas Eve? When are you doing this?
We'll probably be doing it before Christmas, and then we'll be running it probably through the new year. But there's only one barrel, so it's 55 gallons.
Will it be on like a website? What is the website?
The website's viewpointbrewing.com.
Okay.
And we're right in the process right now of updating it, but by the time everyone gets to it, it'll be on there, and you
Very
can
cool.
check out all of the new releases that we will be having.
Excellent.
And our events to come.
Right on.
Very cool.
Charles, Mo, congratulations on your place. Great beers. Thanks for coming by.
Fantastic.
Cheers, thanks guys.
So, Viewpoint Brewing Company in Del Mar. Go for the view, stay for the beer and the food. Right on. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers.